Yeah, usually.
Yeah, but that's crazy.
They're
Because what if they are the
here,
best?
Let me tell you why. Because you, as teachers, it's pretty standard across the nation
Right.
that after 2 to 3 years of teaching, then
Yeah.
you get placed on tenure. So you have like a 2 to 3 year probationary period where
Right.
they can let you go for whatever reason.
Right.
So if you have a teacher who's been here for 25 years,
Right.
who at the time in the 1980s was
Right.
a fantastic teacher, but
Right.
now that education has taken a different direction
Right.
and needs to that teacher needs to implement new learning and teaching strategies into the classroom,
Right.
but they refuse to.
Right.
You can't fire them because they're not doing their job.
Right.
Because they've got tenure.
Right. And that's
So what they do is they say, well, we can't fire this teacher, which could save us a lot of money if we were to get rid of them.
Right.
So let's
let's what?
Let's
That's
get
the
rid of
problem.
the newer
We're-
teachers.
Yeah, but see, that's wrong because the new ones.
And I don't trust me. I totally am on that side. If you
has to be-
suck as a teacher, you need to get out of that classroom because
That's right.
right now our future is in jeopardy.
Yeah, and
Between the politicians and teachers who are not adapting their teaching style to the students, we're in
Right.
trouble.
And
I don't wanna
I
talk about
see, because I believe in merit. I think merit's important.
No,
No.
not merit pay for teachers. Oh no.
No, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is merit rather than seniority.
Right.
That's that's where I'm coming from. Now I realize that the term merit pay for teachers
Taboo.
Sets up
We will hunt you down.
You know, it's it sets
We
up.
will hunt you down.
But you want to know why? Because it has been immorally set up. If it's typed back in, it'll sit back into the more.
Immorally set up by politicians who have no
It's-
idea what goes on in the classroom.
Right. Okay. Now, merit pay should be something that you guys should welcome. Okay. But the reason that it hasn't been welcome, and the reason I guess it's not welcome in other areas as well, is because they have never found a proper way to judge the merit.
Exactly.
They fail to morality.
And I'll tell you about that.
Go.
For teachers who don't understand what you, or not teachers, but for you guys who don't understand what we mean by how do you judge, there was some issue saying down here that they wanted merit pay based on our standardized tests. Well, our standardized tests test 3 things: reading, writing, and math. So what about your social studies teacher? What about your music teacher?
Right.
What about your agriculture teacher? What about your engineering teacher? Those skills aren't assessed on a
Excuse me.
state
Right.
high-stakes standardized tests that comply with the No Child Left Behind Act of
Right.
2001. So where's their merit pay,
Right.
and how do you judge them? So that's, and there is no good way to do merit, because if you have teachers that teach an elective class where students want to be in that class, of
Sure,
course
right.
their scores and grades are going to be better. When you get to a subject like math, when they have to take 4 years to graduate and they sure don't want to be in that class because they hate geometry, and you have to get that child to learn.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So-
no,
and
believe-
it's the whole idea of merit pay is immoral.
Well, okay. No. Let me raise my hand and
It's
say.
immoral because what it does is it pits teacher against teacher. My students are doing better than yours,
Right.
and it's not supposed to be like that. We need to work together as a community to move these kids to be to prepare them to be productive citizens of tomorrow.
Right. Okay. And so let me say this: it's right. This is one of those things where we're getting captured in a term, not a concept.
Right.
Okay. And that's another. Now, see, that's another thing that society does. That's immoral. We have a tendency to label things, and they're very rarely based on accurate principles. We talked about this when we talked about education.
Right.
Okay. What's the single? Here. This is an observation from the moronic wherever I am. The single most important thing besides the teacher in education is the
Student,
parent.
the parent.
Do you know what I'm saying?
student.
Because but we go with that because
Okay.
the student is the person you're working with.
Right.
But if you do not have the support of the parent, you're whistling in the dark, and that's why the term merit has become synonymous with unfair, whereas from a guy like me who sees the word merit meaning you're a good teacher. And you and I both know good teachers when we see them, when we hear
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Okay, and other people do too. Our challenge is to find the right way to assess that. That's our challenge. Your challenge at home, you kids, if you're young people and you're watching this show, one of your homework assignments is to try to figure out the proper way to assess merit. And not just in teaching, in other things that come into play, other jobs that come into play. Now, it's different to a degree. It's different with a fireman and a policeman because they come into emergency situations. You can judge how
Yeah,
they
where
respond.
there's
but-
merit. What's their merit?
Yeah.
Did you risk your life going into the burning building today or not?
Right, or did you stay home?
Yeah.
So I mean, so there's the different judgments for all of these different things. But in any event, okay, so that's good. Okay, now, and then we don't have to stay along this morality thing, but I kind of got into it. I wanted to do this as a separate piece on a separate show, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go into it now because this is amazing to me.
Okay.
We have an immoral. I don't know. I don't want to say it that way. I want to be really careful how I say it. But the fact of the matter is, as long as I've been alive, there have been soap operas on TV. Okay, as long as soap operas have been on TV, people have been
Shows
placed.
are so stupid.
I know, but people have been placed in horrific situations, okay? And they never drop to their knees and pray. And I will tell you, in real life,
Their makeup also
they
never
do
gets
it.
ruined.
No. Thank you for elevating our conversation to a new level. I know.
No, but you're right. That there is some.
We never pray on TV.
There's some. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world.
Good.
And I won't deny myself of having those moments
Okay.
where
I'm sure
you
I
know
do too.
people who win those Emmy awards and those Oscars or whatever, and I first and foremost have to thank God.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What yes, he. No matter whatever religion you believe, that there is
Right.
a higher power that brought.
Right.
But he didn't.
Or helped you through certain
Yeah,
circumstances.
yeah, but he didn't whisper in everybody's ear and say, "Vote for this person." It wasn't his hand that made the check mark on the ballot, and
No.
it wasn't, but it's things like that. Like I just
Right.
get so irritated with, and you see it a lot of time in teenagers too.
Right.
There's students or families that go to church 3 or 4 times a week.
Really?
And then you hear the stuff that's coming out of their mouth in school, and I'm like, a good Christian boy like you would never say anything like that. If
But
you
that's
claim
because-
to be how you are.
And you know why? Then
And
I
it's
come
so
back.
agitating.
What does it come back to? Mom and dad. And listen, and I know there's a lot of you people that hate Glenn Beck and everything else, but let me tell you something. I've been watching him religiously, and I cannot tell you. You don't want to know how right he has been about a lot of the things that are happening. And one of the most important points
He
that he
probably
makes.
has good comments. He just verbalizes them incorrectly.
Well, all I know is that one of the things that he has continuously stressed on is our responsibility, okay, and parents' responsibility, and what you do, your kid sees. It's not what you tell them. It doesn't do you any good to say, "Do this, Johnny," when you don't do it. Okay, and when you cut your little corners, that's what your kid learns. That's what they really learn because they are watching you. I work in a field where we come across a lot of kids, and I see those kids, and I watch how they watch their parents and how they are learning. I want to warn you that if you're a little kid, but if you're a parent, your kids learn more from you when you least are aware
Expect
of it.
it.
Right,
Oh,
least
yeah.
expect it.
Oh, my God. I hate parents.
Kind of a broad statement.
No,
Hear
I mean,
those TV sets
yes.
going off? Click, 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 click.
Why we're on YouTube.
Yeah, right. Okay, go on.
Like I watch how
I hate parents.
children interact, and
Right.
I watch it from the teacher perspective. I watch it in several of
Right.
my other jobs
Right,
that I
right,
have.
right.
And I watch, and I used to say I hate kids because there was no control over them. And then I realized I shouldn't hate the kids. I should get really agitated with the parents.
Right.
Why are you letting your child run around a restaurant with a plate of food like he's a wild monkey? Like, what's wrong with you? And then you want to complain that he slipped on a wet spot. How come you weren't supervising him? It's
Right,
things like that. You're
And
letting your
that's-
child run through the clothing racks in a store.
And not to segue into.
And then you wonder why your child gets abducted.
That's right. And then tying that into the government that's grown up around us that tries to do everything for everybody. You know what's another? Oh, this is funny. This guy ties into school too. I don't know why. I guess a lot more things tie into school than you might think. But you know that
When in doubt, blame it on the
you know,
teachers.
no, it's not that. But
Everybody else
what's
does.
happening is what's happening is they're giving kids lunch at school. They're giving them breakfast at school sometimes. I hope they don't start giving them dinner at school. And the people, they at first, I think the parents thought, gee, this is really good. Now this is something that I don't have to worry about. But what you do not realize is that child is being removed from your presence. So what's happening is, little by little, the children are being removed from the parents.
They are.
And the parents' influence. And that can't be good. Because just like you
No,
said,
because then they turn to the media.
you teach. Yes. Oh, in fact, that's the point I was really trying. Oh my God, that's the point I was really trying to make, and we'll touch on this next week. But the point that I was trying to make is that in these soap operas and in all of the stuff that you watch on TV ad nauseum, if you watch those networks, those horrible places, I am telling you that these people are put into situations that make you and I and other people drop down on our knees and pray to God for help. But it's never in the script.
That's true.
Okay? And the fact of the matter is, if you watch a soap opera for 1 week, I am telling you, 60% of those events that happen would have people in prayer. But they never show that. What are they afraid of?
But what they do show is the, oh God, why does this have to happen to me?
Right. It's
That's the hypocrisy.
and it is the hypocrisy, because what happens is
You're asking him why, but what have you done to get, you know what I mean.
yeah, and I want to support that in the sense that what that means is, and the point that I'm trying to make is that God is in our lives more than the media wants to acknowledge, because the media. And let me not
the
say
media
it's not
doesn't. The media doesn't want to make anybody mad, because there's a lot of religious groups out there that, with everybody suing everybody for
everything. Lawyers, yes, a real big problem in our country.
All it takes is one person to have something with Catholics or Muslims or Baptists or whatever, and then there you go. You can't be a public station and cater to one religion. And that's, it's kind of like, there's a separation of church and state.
Yes, and you want to know something? Just for the fact of the matter is, there is no separation of church and state. You know what's in the Constitution? What's really in the Constitution? It says that the government shall make no religion official.
Right.
That's it. It says nothing about no Christmas trees in the town square. It says nothing about no menorahs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's none of that. None of that. But what's happened is the society has become much more immoral than it used to be. We used to have a moral society. Now, the reason we're trying to get away from God, because it lets us do what we want. What feels good? It's okay. Who cares about God? Because God, 10 Commandments. Oh, you mean thou shalt not kill and steal and all that stuff? But I want my neighbor's wife. Oh, you know what I mean? That's why they are pounding and pounding. Don't get me wrong. They are pounding and pounding and pounding to drive God out of our lives, because God is stronger than them.
And we're out of time.
Oh, we are out of time? Okay. Well, listen, we're going to go. Okay. We're really out of time, actually.
You were in such a good soapbox. I didn't want to take you off of it.